So, usually when we speak to people, when we connect with them, we take their life history. We ask them, like, you go to a homeopath and the homeopath takes down the life history. We just exactly the same way we take down the life history, and we'll ask you weirdest of questions. Sometimes they'll feel, oh, why you are asking me this? But we'll ask you because the job here, the work here is not to look at your actions or what is happening in your external plane, but usually to look in the subtle plane. What led you to that action? What is the energy behind taking that action? So that's where, because your energy, we are energy beings, and this energy leads you to the outer reality. So you have to tune in, because this work is a root cause work. You cannot cut the branches of the tree and you say, oh, we weeded it out. But you have to go to the very root to understand. And that's where, when we take down the history, we make down notes and we understand. And then we try to see person from several layers. Like, for example, who we are today, like you and I and everybody. Majorly, there are 4 milestones that we have covered in our journey. We try to look you on those milestones. What are those milestones? The very first milestone is your childhood. The first 7 to 10 years of your life, they lay the foundation of who you are. For example, there are these brain waves that we talk about: alpha, beta, alpha, theta, delta. We talk about these. As humans, we majorly live in beta and alpha. Like, beta is very highly erratic in nature, like the frequency of the thoughts is really high. Alpha is little lower than that. Theta is further lower than that. Like, meditative state can be theta state because we are highly absorbing in nature. And delta is a sleep like state wherein the frequency of the thoughts is really, really slow. It's almost like 0 to 4 thoughts, not more than that. As kids, we are majorly the first 7 years of our life, we live in theta. So theta state is the highest absorbing state. Like, whatever is being put inside of you, whatever is being fed inside of you when you are in theta, it is going to directly hit your subconscious. It's going to, like a sponge. We also say, like, children are sponge. They absorb everything like a sponge. So that is the very first element that we explore. For example, if as a child you have gone through, a tough time with your parents. Let's say you did not get enough love, care, attention from your parents. Your parents separated or did not live together due to any reason. It has an impact on the child. You have seen your parents fighting, or you've been mocked. You've been mocked for your appearance, the way you are. You've been mocked by the teacher for scoring less. All this has an impact on how we grow into. So, for example, if as a child you've been told you are good for nothing, you're not going to do anything, you are an idiot. If you've been told that, it is quite likely when I grow as an adult, that that word is still inside of me. That statement is now being replayed. I don't need anybody to tell me that now, because now I have internalized it and I operate from that space. So that energy creates that word for me. I keep doing the work, but I see that work does not give me, the fruits the way I want. Why? Because this belief, this is a hindrance to you. And the way you look at yourself, like, how much you are in love with yourself, how much you care for yourself, that also being taught to us as a child. So that all has an impact on, what as an adult we grow into. That's the very first dimension of our foundation. The second milestone is our mother's womb. When we are inside the mother's womb, because during that time, the child and the mother are one. So whatever happens to mother, the child naturally absorbs it. So, for example, from what space the baby was created? Was it created out of love, or was it created out of force? Was it a marital rape? Whatever, what condition was it? That has an impact on the child. We create that garbha sanskar inside. And for example, the pregnancy happened in a very accidental manner. The mother wanted to take pills and she took the pills, but the baby could not be aborted. and the baby came, and now the mother is constantly repenting. Why this? Why it's happening? So this child is now going to carry the belief of constant rejection. That because the very source has now rejected you, the source that was supposed to give you the birth, you're coming to her because she does not have any other option. So this rejection will now further be shown in the other events of your life. For example, you are rejected at school, you are rejected by your friends, you are rejected by your girlfriend, you're rejected by your boss, and you constantly experience that rejection. So much so that one fine day you ask yourself, why me? Why it is happening to me? And from there, rather than looking for answers outside, because right now when people say, why me? They will come from an angry space. Of course, we come from an angry space, but we look out for answers outside. I say, I will not let others to now reject me. I will reject them before they reject me. I say this, but this is not going to be the healing. This is not going to get you the answers till the time you look within. So that's where we look into. We look into your mother's womb region, like what was happening with her when you were inside that. The third space, the third milestone is what kind of life your ancestors lived. Because, for example, what kind of life your mother had, how was her childhood, what kind of childhood your father had. It had impact on what adult they have grown into. Like, for example, let's say a mother who, as a child, did not get enough nourishment from her own mother. Let's say her mother was struggling with a death of a child. She lost a child, and during that during that death, this new girl was just infant and she was on the breastfeed. Because of her own depression and everything, she could not breastfeed the girl. And this child will feel unloved because the mother's breast is nothing. It's not just milk, it is receiving the warmth, it is receiving the love. The love goes directly into your mouth, it nourishes you in a very different way. So, this child who does not feel nourished by the mother will grow into an adult, maybe who is now seeking that nourishment from the kids. Why? Because the child inside never felt nourished. And now she wants her kid to, her kids to nourish her. She's still a child in the grown up body. So that is another one example. In the same way, what happened in the history of your ancestors, because by way of DNA, we pick up the impressions of our ancestors. We might not have met our great grandparents, but the impression is there in DNA. Like, we see that diabetes move from one generation to another. We see hypertension moving from one generation to another. These are just physical symptoms, and in the medical field today, they ask you these questions. Is it hereditary? Did you notice this kind of symptom showed up by any of your family members or any of your ancestors? Because they see it with impression of DNA. Like my family history had asthma. My great grandmother had, and her father had, and it traveled to me. It came to me. But I could break the pattern. And how could I break? When I move from the unconscious to conscious. In the same way, like, there are patterns that are unconsciously moving with us. When we try to deal with them in a very conscious manner, we can, rise above those patterns. And that's where the ancestral work comes into the picture. It does not mean that you will get what your family history has gone through. It will definitely come to you. No, you have your power of free will. But to reach to that, you have to heal your wounds. And that's how you can create your reality. So that's the third dimension. The fourth dimension is our past lives. There are certain unfinished businesses that we carry from different lifetimes, not in the form of receiving a punishment here. No, karma is not a punishment. Karma is a feedback. It's a feedback system. It wants to tell you, like, there's a room for improvement. And we say karma is a teacher. It wants to teach you. You might find it hard, but the more graceful and respectful you are to this energy, it can teach you in the most humble ways. It can make you most beautiful being on the earth if you're humble to that. And like we carry themes, like there are movies, every movie run on a theme. every life run on a theme. Like in this lifetime, I have a theme. In this lifetime, you have a theme. Everybody has a theme, and we are here to move around that theme and work on our lessons, and and try working on that. So that's where the past life comes into play.